tonight we're gonna be bringing on one of my favorite channels, not just for drum and bass, but just in general, streaming on Twitch. I'm excited to have them on. When I first saw their channel, I immediately was like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. They had a community, they had a real vibe to it, and there was it was personality-driven content. You could see a real passion for what they were doing, and it was genuine. And I'm the kind of person, like a lot of the people in the chat right now, we can see through the bullshit, right? Escape Velocity channel, you guys are one of my, like I said, you guys are one of my favorite channels. I want to talk about where you're streaming and what you're using to stream.
Sure.
So first of all, for those that don't know, I wish I had a clip. I didn't bring. I'm a terrible producer. They stream from the inside of a tour bus, y'all, and it's.
We're so sorry that we're not inside of it right now.
It's
This wasn't
freaking legit. Like
best set up for an interview stream.
I understand. But if you ever, when you go catch their stream, if you've not caught their stream yet, yeah, follow everyone in the chat. Big up your moms. That's Erin. She's a good friend of mine. Check out their stream if you haven't already, and you'll see that they're coming from the inside of a tour bus. I have so many questions.
Sure.
Is the bus got an Ethernet cable coming from your house? Are you guys streaming? Like, what hardware are you using? Like, what's going on?
Off of a Verizon hotspot.
Yeah, we use a 4G LTE hotspot. It's a category 6. No, it's a category 8 hotspot for any techie guys out there.
And we
guys
have
and
it
girls.
connected to antennas in the window.
Which means it's a MIMO device and it can do channel bonding. It's the very first generation of devices, category devices that can do channel bonding. But the funny thing is, we don't use an Ethernet cable. We do use a 4G hotspot. The 4G hotspot that we use, the plan that we have, has no data cap whatsoever.
However,
but it is network managed, and so this is kind of where the tour bus fits into things. When you have a tour bus, more likely than not, you can get away from city centers and things like that, which means you're in more rural areas. And therefore, there's less network congestion. So network management has rarely, if ever, affected us.
yeah, because we're usually not streaming near a city.
Yeah.
And we moved out of the city.
So that we could-
Wait, so y'all are driving the bus out into the middle of the cuts, and then.
No.
So
no, we're enough
we
outside of the city
relocated
center.
right now.
I understand.
We moved
Okay.
to find a place where we could have the bus next to us, because
Yeah.
previously it was like 30 minutes away in storage, and it was really hard to work.
Yeah, you
with.
can't.
we would go there.
It's tough to have a bus
We
in a
had
neighborhood.
Pack up
Yeah.
and like bring all of our gear every single week out to the bus. We're doing it out there. So we're far enough away that luckily it works.
Yeah, we don't have any problems.
We don't have a problem with it.
Entity
There's
says,
another-
"I assume they stream from a spaceship."
Yeah, so our whole
feels
thing,
like
our whole
it.
thing is definitely like the idea of a spacecraft is.
I love it, dude. I love it.
Yeah, like
being in there.
once we're actually on the road,
Yeah.
we're gonna be investing in a lot of gear
Yeah.
for our Wi-Fi. We're probably gonna have 3 plans with all the majors, and we're gonna have receivers and boosters.
Yeah.
And
We're currently
gonna
also
be all
signed up
kitted
for the Starlink beta. If anybody's paying
Mhm.
attention to what Musk and his camp is up
Yeah.
to with Starlink and SpaceX and all that. But I want to put this out there for it's a little bit of a techie thing as far as OBS is concerned, and something that I find surprises a lot of people, like totally surprises a lot of people. We spent the time and big up to the people who support us and hang out and watch the show and give money to what we're doing so that we can buy equipment. We went through the process of working with our crew to get a full frame digital camera, an older generation, 3 generations old now, Sony A7S. So it's a very nice camera that you can get nice lenses for, and that camera lets you run your streams bitrate way lower than you
It's
might
not just
think.
that camera. We did it with the webcam too.
We did it with the webcam,
Yeah.
but you notice it a lot with a good camera. So the combination of 2 things.
What resolution and what bitrate are you set at?
So we do 720p streaming at 2000.
Whoa! Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if
Yeah.
you guys,
So
just
we
in
only-
perspective, guys, I'm currently at 4,000, and right now my KPBS is 363 or 4, so
Yeah.
3,900 right now. So yeah, you guys are doing half of that at 720p 30, and you're able to
we do 60.
you do 720p 60. I do 720p
At
30.
2000.
I'm gonna talk to you about that, but before we get into that, so you guys are able to lower your bit rate all the way down to 2,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, the reason for that is anybody who knows how macro blocking works and subframes and keyframes and stuff in video encoding. The deal is when you're sitting in front of a mostly static screen and the only thing that's moving is yourself, your bitrate can be much lower.
Yeah.
So we took that into
probably wouldn't work with
consideration. We took that into consideration, like what you're doing right now on your
Mostly still. It's a lot of static.
There's almost nothing happening.
Yeah.
Right.
So the codec can handle that very easily at a lower bit rate. But then add in a good camera. The good camera is like the big deal.
Sure.
But also doing 720p streaming and not 1080p.
Right.
All those three things, that confluence of things make it possible for us to stream from the tour bus on a mobile hotspot with relative ease. And we've had very, very, very
we only
little.
need
I didn't know. I didn't even.
megabytes up, and we can stream.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
a lot too. And the other reason too, and how we sort of found about this tip and discovered it is, until you're partnered, you don't get transcoding on your stream.
Just gonna mention that.
And so, not everyone has high speed, or some people are on their phones or they're in bad areas. And so keeping
or they
it
might
at
have a
low,
data limit. They might have a data cap on
Data
their
cap's coming back. Right.
Bit rate and only a 720p until people can adjust our stream. It just makes it more accessible to a wider
So
audience.
lower bit rate, a smaller video, all those things help let more people watch from more places more of the time.
I was just going to ask you that because I was thinking that my 720p 30 frames per second on my iPhone camera, which is what it's happening right now, this is the original setup here. And I was thinking that this was like, scrubby. And I wanted to bump it to the 1080p 60. And like, I got the doper graphics card and everything. I actually sent the graphics card back. And I'm going to keep rocking the old GeForce card and keep going at 720p 30.
Access to NVENC or NVENC New.
NVENC New.
And you're some like 7 series or above. Yeah, you're not going to get the best stuff with the new NVENC encoder in the RTX series cards and up. But as long as you're like using NVENC New, you're pretty good.
It's good enough. And for what I'm doing, other than the 5 people right now, maybe 5 that are watching on their 70 inches in their living room, and big up to you, I think I'm going to be pretty good according to my stats, because I'm a stat junkie as well. According to my stats, most everybody's watching on their phone.
I found that too. A lot of people are watching on mobile.
So I hope you have headphones plugged in, y'all, because you're just watching from your speakers when we're doing the Friday and Saturday night. You're catching all the tweeters.
Man. Baby.
Yeah, let's get the full spectrum there. I ain't mad at you. You can watch from your phone. I ain't mad at you. Do you have like a DJ machine and a stream machine separately, or are you doing everything from the same computer? Or how's it work for you in the bus?
Years ago, this is a funny thing. Years ago, back in 2012, I remember Asus. They said, "Hey, we're going to release these little laptops with glass tops. They're they're Ultrabooks. They're called what do they call this thing? I forget what they called this specific one. The Infinity Book." And I was smitten by it, right? So in 2013, I got my hands on one, and I ended up getting another later for really, really cheap. So I've got a 2013 notebook that Rockstar Serato set up, and it still crushes it to this day.
And that's all that's on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's completely just dedicated.
It's the DJ book. Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. And then we've got the streaming PC that our crew helped us build. And
because I was
shouts
streaming.
out to Circuit and to Zylock and
we were
Big up
streaming
Circuit.
for a very
Big up
long
Zylock.
time on my Dell XPS 15, and we thought it could handle it because at the time I had a 1050 card in it, all this stuff. No, we had to put literally like blower fans on it like during our stream, and like Kappa Jam would be like. And then one time I got the blue screen of death before we went to stream, and for a week I thought I completely lost my computer. So we're like, crew, we need to get a computer, and it took a few months.
So
it's
a two system setup for us.
Perfect.
Yeah, so now we have a really, really awesome streaming.
Any DJs out there, I highly recommend that. If you don't have 2 systems set up, I would even recommend like using the Streamlabs OBS app on your phone and streaming with your phone because what we're doing with our laptops already, especially if you're using a MacBook Pro, those things don't exactly have amazing GPUs unless you got the one with the extra build. And so if you're trying
thermals on notebook computers in general are
Yeah.
just a huge concern.
huge concern.
It is 2020, right?
Yeah, I know.
You'd think we would have figured this whole
Yeah.
thing.
We're just making them skinnier and hotter, dude. That's all.
Or just huge and giant and bulky because of all the fans.
Right, exactly. So
I
yeah,
want to say something else real quick
Yes.
about the tour bus. We love
About
doing
streaming?
about streaming. We love doing it from the bus. We actually really wanted to be in there tonight for anybody who wasn't aware of what we were doing. But we found it to be really conducive to streaming. And I think anybody who streams a lot can agree with this. When you set up a studio for the purpose of streaming, not having to break it down and move it around all the time is a huge freaking deal. And the tour bus is like, its purpose for us is to do streaming, and we're renovating basically outside. When you see us on stream, basically everything to the back of the bus, just outside of your view, is completely torn down. It's just steel and insulation and raw
wires
wood and stuff.
PVC piping.
Because we're going to be taking all of this back here, the whole Straylight. I do mastering work and audio engineering work for a lot of my day.
Outstanding.
We're taking this whole studio and the Argosy desk and everything that goes in the back of the bus and many other things. So the idea early on was that the bus was made for our lifestyle and music to travel and bring the labels and our shows around and the stream around all around the North Americas, but also to have it set, to put a thing together as what it was meant to do for streaming or for engineering and have it set.
walk in, hit the switch, time to go. Like
Totally. It's a huge
Oh my God,
deal.
makes such a difference. Oh my gosh.
It's a quality of life issue. To be honest.
You're talking to somebody whose living room is exploded with crap right now, dude. Like
I totally know how you're feeling.
to take like 2 to 3 hours, like every single time to set up everything
You'll go mad,
before you have
man.
to stream. By the time you start your stream, you're just like, oh my God, I'm exhausted, you guys. You haven't even started yet.
I just wanted to say about the tour bus. We love the bus like you would not believe. We have a Discord channel, a Discord server, and then there's a whole room dedicated to the tour bus.
YouTube is coming.
We just started a YouTube channel for the bus renovations as well. And I mean, I'm out there all the freaking time getting dirty, super dirty when you're working on a bus and wrenching on it and doing all that. I love it to death. But I just wanted to mention that.
Let me follow up with the chat real quick. Let's see, make sure that we're not ignoring them completely. Although I kind of am. Sorry, guys. Let's see here, and gals.
Okay. I use a laptop. Oh, yeah, speaking of that, Catch, I was watching an interview with DJ Storm, and this was back in 2018, and she was saying, yeah, I'm gonna have to get with the time. She's like, the decks don't have a hole for my CD anymore.
Boomer discs. Shouts out to Catch's record collection, man. Seriously, that's
for real.
That is an insane record collection. It's coming from
all of our records are all
now.
around down here. You can't see them. We have a very good collection. It can't hold a candle to Catch's collection.
Ours is like a hobbyist collection. His is like an archival museum.
It's wild,
collection.
man. You know, I got a couple thousand records. I've gotten rid of many over the years. I think any DJ probably has it that's had a big collection. And I am very happy with my collection. But again, Catch's collection just slays it. And he's always getting like mad orders in.
He just said he bought 6 more orders.
Yeah, speaking of which, he's like, yeah, I just bought 6 more orders. So.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And awesome, by the way. Big up. I can't wait to have him on and talk about it. We were last week we had my homie Ajax on. Ajax is our local turntable repair guy. Bill was in the chat just like lighting it up with questions because he's a super smart dude and had all the right questions, which is awesome. Word up. All right. So speaking of music, it is the right time to transition. Let's go all the way back. Okay. We're taking it back to the 20th century.
Back into time.
Funny when you say it like that.
So it's 90, and somebody hears drum and bass for the first time, and it sparks something in their mind. Let's go back. How did you end up here? Let's go back to where you started. What's going on?
Man, it's crazy, and I get the feeling that everybody has a story that's just like this, probably. It's vivid. It's vivid for me. I can tell you exactly the night. I can tell you where I was, who was around me, what song it was, what CD it was on, the whole dang thing. And for me, it was 92. And I was just at the point where I was beginning my quote adult life, right? And I'd moved into this little place that was basically no more than a cardboard box with a bunch of my mates from high school. And also these two guys that were in a band that were not from my high school. And they're the ones who found this little freaking shanty shack that we were living in. Anyway, they come back from a gig one night with a Moonshine CD. Here in the States, Moonshine was a major deal for bringing over UK import music.
Big licensing.
So seriously, big up to Smile, NASA Crew, Moonshine, the whole thing.
You know, if you think about it, you can just literally name off the laundry list of like the Dons where you can draw their careers chasing it back to a Moonshine mix CD from the 90s. Artists like Diesel Boy, AK-1200, Dara, like the whole Planet of the Drum Things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and even on the house side of things, like we got all these legends too, and it was a huge exposure because they were on the publishing game early. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, big up Smile. Go ahead.
I'm gonna mention something about my boy
Moonshine.
Pete Wachowski in just a second. Remember that name. So anyway, these friends came home with Speed Limit Sampler 140 BPM Volume 2. It has Nico and Ray Keith's remix of Cloud9's Got Me Burning Up on it. And they come back drunk from a gig they'd just played. I was still at the house playing video games. You know, I'm just turning 18 years old. And they come back stumbling in after this gig they'd played. They throw this CD in that somebody had given to them. God knows how it ended up being given to them, and they're laughing at it. You know, the whole house is just like making fun of this shit, like, oh, this dumb techno stuff.
I remember that era.
That song comes on, and I'm just like, you know, like that crazy comic book, like cartoon experience where your eyes go like into stars and the world fades away, and there's like lights going on behind you and rays of shit, right? That tune completely blew me away. I had never heard that mixture of sounds and beats and styles before, and it was the right time for me in my life and the right music. And I remember everybody crashed out, you know, at the end of the night, and once they came home, I started drinking with them and everything too. And I stole that CD promptly.
Thank you very much.
And with that CD, looking at the names of the artists, you know, think about it. Back in the day, Origin Unknown.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was Andy C. I thought that they literally didn't know who made the song.
Right.
I'm not afraid to admit that. Everybody starts someplace.
Right. Oh, totally.
So I took all those names and the labels and all this stuff and just kind of ran with it. And so from that point forward, you skip forward to realistically 1995. I got my first club job. Within a year of that, big up to Monk, Steve McClure.
What was your local record shop back then?
That was the alternative record store in Tampa, Florida. That came later with my man Chris Milo, DJ3, who myself and DJ3 now run Halucienda Records, which is a house and techno label that you guys absolutely need to check out.
Do it.
What was it?
Yep, Halucienda. So 3 working at the alternative record store. He was the guy that was Sound Exchange, which was around then too. So Chris, I would walk into this record store in 1995 and I'd be like, hey man, I want to order a copy of AWOL Live on vinyl. And he would be like, all right, I'll order that for you, but only if you buy this double CD of 4 Heroes Parallel Universe right now. So think about this for a second. All the jungle heads out there, think about this. How much do you like AWOL Live? Probably a lot.
Amazing.
I love the hell of it. I mean,
it's amazing
AWOL
album.
Live.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, and big up to Chris for this, and Chris is definitely one of them tastemakers. This is why he is an internationally acclaimed.
He wanted you to know about 4 Hero. He wanted you to know about, yeah.
That Parallel Universe album, if you listen to it today, that is the future.
Yeah.
You know, that's a whole different ball game.
Big up Mark and Dago.
Dude, Mark Dago and Ian, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So you fast forward to 95, I'm thoroughly entrenched in the scene, and there's Screwface and DJ Dread, who's a huge name at the time, though I looked up to these guys, like DJ Dread especially, who was like, you know, he would have like 45, 50 different mixtapes out in the record shops that you
Sick.
could just look at stacks of these tapes and stuff.
Hustling.
So I started doing tape covers for everybody and making flyers and getting a job in a club and all that business. And so 95 up is where it really, really got serious for me.
For those of you that are not familiar with this era, hustling tapes was the way to do it. Yeah, a big deal. It was not uncommon where I would probably have like 3 people out in the crowds pushing tapes for me during my sets back in the day. I definitely was into that game. It was fun. It was a fun game, the mixtape hustle. Go ahead, keep going.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, my journey started later and was
but not much later.
Disjointed.
Yeah, different journey, but not much later.
Okay. My experience, my first, I guess, true exposure to drum and bass was in college, and we had this one friend that loved throwing house parties, but he would always be like a DJ at the house party and like cool music and people bringing their vinyls. And I remember we were at the party one night, and he came over and like me and my friend, he's like, I have a track I want you guys to listen to. We're like, okay, yeah. But the DJ, he's like, no. We got. He like, you got to just hear it. It has to have like attention, right? We're like, okay. So we went in the room, closed the door. He put the track on, and you guys have already mentioned in the chat. I would see it was AK-1200's "Drowning Cleveland Lounge" remix, and I had never quite heard something like that before, and I was just like you said, there was just something in my brainwaves were like, what is this? And after he played it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, dude, that was great. Like, play it again. He's like, yeah, it's cool, right? I'm like, no, I'm serious. Play it again. Like, I made him like play it again for me. and then at the same
calling rewinds. You didn't even know the culture yet, and you're calling rewinds.
No, I didn't. I was like, can I hear that again? And then at the same house, at another house party, long story short, there was just someone outside who was all just not having a good time, and I was taking care of them or whatever. Some stranger, didn't know who they were. And they were just like, oh my gosh, you've been so nice. I feel so much better. I felt like crap before. Like, I want to go get you something. Hold on. So they went out to their car, and they're like, I want you to have this CD. And it was a really nice, like, double disc, like, CD set, which were like, those were expensive then. Like, you treasure those.
Especially the imports.
And it was LTJ Bookham's Logical Progressions #4. And it had the musical instrumental side and the side with MC Conrad. And I remember I would just put that on. I was doing graphic design internship, and I was just like, I would just listen to it all the time. And just how you were like, you didn't know who Origin Unknown was. Like, I didn't understand the culture of drum and bass yet. I still thought these were just like one-off sounds. I hadn't really picked up yet that there was a whole genre, because no one else I knew was listening to it.
Right.
And I remember I didn't understand about the culture of the MC. And I remember listening to the CD that had MC Conrad, and I was just like, I don't know. I like the instrumental side better. And it's like now I'm like, oh my God, I miss my MCs. Like, I freaking love MCs. But yeah, so that was sort of my little introduction into it. And then my life just sort of weaved in and out of music forever until I finally, like a few years ago, I was like, I need to get serious about this.
We're nearly positive that we ran into one another at a nightclub.
Isn't that interesting how that works?
Downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, because I also got a gig. I also got a summer job as a nightclub as the door girl.
At a club that me and Frank Mendez were working in. If anybody knows who Frank Mendez is, big up to Frank Mendez and his record label, El Cuckoo. He and I started what we believe to be the first drum and bass internet radio show called DMZ Radio in 1997.
Sick.
But it might not be the first, but we thought it was at the time. Anyway, we started Evil Bass recordings together then too. He was DJing, and I was helping with, the beginnings of Evil Bass and all that. And I'm almost positive that she and I ran into one another at the door of this nightclub in 98. And then, took 10 years, 98, 20 years. How long after that?
98.
Yeah. You weren't ready yet, man. You weren't worthy yet.
But it's just wild, man. It's a small world. It's a small world. I want to also add something, and she's helped me to kind of learn this. And any men out there, hopefully you've had a similar experience where you're kind of getting to realize, there's definitely more to the world than what we see as guys. But it was really easy for me to find community in this music as a guy. She didn't find community in the music where she could have. And I think knowing, I mean, if you've been paying attention to the releases she's had out recently, she's got a brand new song on Repertoire Recordings, Repertoire Records, Streetlight Volume 1. If you haven't gotten that, go get it right now.
Can we listen to it today?
Huh?
Do you have it on cue? Can we listen to it today? Is it on?
Yeah, we can totally.
I'll buy it. Is it on Spotify or something, or it's all?
It's free. It was part of a project that they're doing.
Yeah, Ricky Law and Wheeler, all them guys over there.
Yeah, they're using their clout as a label to grab a bunch of demos and artists of lesser known, unknown producers that they can't put everything out on vinyl that they release, but they're like, we have so many good tracks. But
these ones we weren't going to let go, so we're going to do something.
Yeah, so
we'll get to more music soon, but I just want to say, like, anybody who's paying attention to what she's up to, like, her first release killed my first release. Like, quality wise, style wise, forget about it. I'm happy with my first release, but hers is way, way better. And if she had found the community in music at the same rate,
so many false
starts. At the same rate that I had, you know, there's a good chance she would be the big international touring production DJ, because she's got the talent for it. But ladies didn't have that.
Yeah, like at 19, when I was working at the nightclub,
that network.
It was 1998. And I'd always been into electronic music. I mean, ever since like Herbie Hancock's Rocket, when I heard it, Mars Pump Up the Volume. I mean, I was listening to this stuff as like a kid, and I'm like, what is this? So when I started working at the clubs, and I was attracted towards being the DJ. I like that idea of providing this music and having like everyone enjoy and having a fun time. But I'm like, I keep on seeing male DJ, male DJ, male DJ.
And what were they carrying?
DJ. Shit ton of fucking records.
Yo, records were heavy for dudes.
Oh yeah, they were.
Make no mistake.
Especially dub plates.
I was like,
cute girl rolling in with two giant crates of records.
I'm like, there's a need in this industry for females, and I was always wanting to do that. I was always hanging out where the boys are, because I'm like, there's no girls there. There needs to be one. So I was like, I'm going to be a female DJ, but you know, I was still in college, and my parents were all.
I would have hooked you up with Roxanne. So you guys know Roxanne from LA?
Yes. I do.
So she was my roommate with Frank Mendez.
Oh, no kidding.
Frank at the time. Yeah.
Okay.
So before she met Assassin, we booked him in Fort Lauderdale. They met one another eventually.
Shouts out to Assassin.
Yep. Shouts out to Assassin. Soundsphere. What?
Yeah.
One of them Soundsphere tunes is still to this day one of my favorite American tracks of all time. I think it's Void. Is it? No, it's not Void.
Void is great. Rocket is great. The Soundstorm from RAW is amazing. Yeah.
That was it. Soundstorm.
Yeah.
So anyway, Roxanne, if I had known at the time, I would have hooked Roxanne and her up together, and they would have kind of like started that journey together. But I just wanted to point out that she kind of almost started her journey at the same time as me, just a little bit later, but had so many false starts because she didn't have that kind of community of you know, where was the familia?
Yeah, I mean, I
it's easy
actually
for me to find it in a sense.
My very first track I ever made was probably in like 04, 05 in GarageBand on my MacBook.
Nothing wrong with that.
You know, like I was always trying to do that. It just, you know, there was so much chaos and issues going on in my personal life, and it just sort of, I never had the brain availability to really go into something creative like that. Yeah, but so that's why this has been like such a long journey for me. And finally, like when we hit probably like my mid-30s and we moved up here, and you know, I've always been around musicians and DJs, obviously, because that's something I want to do. I'm always around them. And I just said to him, like, you know what? I'm like, I'm gonna be turning 40 in a few years, and I either do this or shut the F up about it. You know, something I really want to do, or is it just some like, oh, this nice little fantasy it's nice to think about? And so that's when I was like,
anybody who watches our show knows that it's legit. It's not a fantasy. She's on it, man. She'll crush it.
Well, I had to make a decision though. Like, I'm either going to like seriously get serious about this, or just let it go, and I'll go focus on some other stuff. So it's been fantastic. I love it.
When it comes to the history of Northern California drum and bass, I've been a long time spokesperson for the strong female presence that existed there, even in the mid-late 90s. So a lot of the main promoters, a lot of the main DJs were female. And a lot of times it feels like that has been forgotten, because it isn't really like that a whole lot anymore, even though it's still there. But
drum and bass,
but back then,
Storm,
right, exactly. Back then, In Bay Area, in San Francisco particularly, you had Ground Score, which was run by Dee Marie. She did eclectic.
Yeah.
And then there was Sage, who was really popular. She went national for a while.
Yeah. Sage came and hung out with us in Tampa in 99 to 2000, maybe, I think.
Star Eyes and Architect Crew. Yep. Star Eyes was really big, and she's actually still in the music industry, still writing for the music industry. Vivian, big up Vivian. And there was Summer, who did the Ascendi promotions. There was just a lot of really well networked and really strong female presence involved with the contribution side. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of times those don't get the light shined on them that they deserve. You know what I mean? And so I've always been like saying to people that are like asking about drum and bass history and stuff, like, y'all need to remember what happened. Like, there was they brought thank you. They brought a sense of style to the Northern California scene that would not have existed if it wasn't for their presence. And I'm appreciating.
We'd all be wearing tall white socks and black shorts, yo.
Straight up.
That only goes so far.
Right. So right now, if you're just tuning in, we're talking with A1 Voodoo and Sensnet from the Escape Velocity channel. One of the mods, could you please throw up their channel in the chat so we can give them a follow? And I really appreciate your time. It's super late, y'all. You're plus 3 hours right now. So what's that? 1:30.
We are in it, man.
We're in it now.
It just felt like a regular gig night. I'm like, oh my god, we're going out when people are sleeping. Yay! This is like old times.
We're in it now. You got me going. If you keep talking, I'm there.
We made it all the way to becoming DJs and falling in love with the music. When did the record label come into play?
Like I said, the first record label for me was 97 with Frank Mendez.
Yep.
Frank Mendez and I started Evil Bass Recordings, and we put out a couple pieces of vinyl, and kind of like that's where I learned. So, okay, hold on. This is important, and it's seriously important, because no one, I honestly believe, just goes off and does a thing without having someone before them teach them a little bit. In my case, I was taught a lot. And that comes from Hallucination Recordings. I have to big up Hallucination Recordings, Steve McClure, DJ Monk, Dave Christopher, Confucius, Steve Echon, Bunny. Bunny is the man who's now the lead production design guy for Insomniac Productions. Everybody knows who that is, alongside Pascal and everybody. Ultra and all the big shows, that Cyberfest and all that stuff. Yep. Same type of thing. Those guys, like that's my family. And without them, basically, specifically Steve McClure, taking me by my hair, up puke in the bathroom. That was my job. I wanted to be there. I needed to be entrenched in the scene.
Did the work, man.
The people who were making the music. If it weren't for him pulling my head up into the DJ booth and going, "This is a Lightwave controller for a Cyberlight. These are data flashes. These are this and that and the other. You're now my sound. You're now my lighting guy." I don't know exactly what my path would have been, because that close proximity to him, Dave, and Bunny from Hallucination put me as a member of Rabbit in the Moon, as the beginning of a really, really big groundswell of electronic music in the United States. And I can't thank them enough for teaching me what they did, because before I started my first label, they were starting theirs. Yep. And I got to watch that process.
Yep.
And through that process, I decided I got an opportunity to move to Fort Lauderdale to help. So there were these two guys that were running Zen Fest. One of them was Jason Donovan, and they started a new print company, and I was a graphic designer.
That's where we think we probably ran into each other, because I'm from Fort Lauderdale.
Yep.
So when I brought him back home to meet my parents, he's like, "Oh, that's the Blockbuster I used to go to." I'm like, "That's the Blockbuster I used to go to." I'm like, "What?"
So I went down to South Florida, and I brought that knowledge with me. I met somebody that was really, really energized like I was. Like, let's start a club night. Let's start a record label. Let's do an internet radio show. This is the thing that we can do now because of this thing called Icecast, and Stream, what was it? Shoutcast. And
yep, Shoutcasting. Yep.
So 97, Frank Mendez, Evil Bass. In 98, I went to England, met a bunch of really, really cool people. Somebody just played a recording of, I forget what show we were at. It was like I don't even know what party it was, but MC5O's on the mic shouting me out from this little period of time that I went to the UK. Come back from that, super, super energized, moved back to Tampa, where I'd already had a group of friends. And these group of friends in the grand scheme of things, are even more influential to me than Steve and Dave from Hallucination. And that's Bamboo and Screwface and Jay Ryder and Ohm and all of us, MC Kless One, all of us who were Stateside Collective. So Force Recordings, Bamboo and I, we decided to start the record label Force Recordings.
We used to stock it. We stocked it. We stocked it.
You stocked it. You
Yes,
stocked our first releases. That's awesome.
Pretty sure we did.
Did you get the DJ mullet cut?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I just, because, you know, there's
So
so many records, but I do remember
the one like unknown.
Oh, and
I do remember a domestic label called Force Recordings. I do remember stocking that at the store. Yeah, I absolutely remember.
You're
that.
awesome. Thank you.
And quick little pop-up trivia fact, all of our soundproofing in the studio is from the
the old Rabbit in the Moon studio. I adopted the old Rabbit in the Moon studio when Dave and I lived together for half a decade, and when he moved out to California, I took over the Wish Art House. Anybody who's in the underground like music scene from the Southeast probably heard of the Wish Art House. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I took that house over and I took the studio over, and I still use the soundproofing.
We saved all the soundproofing. Yep.
So yeah, the record labels. That's kind of how it all started for me. And then in 2000, this is the major shift. In 2004,
Bamboo, digital.
Yeah, well, Bamboo left the industry. And he and I had started a print company. I think like many people who are involved in the underground, maybe this is a global thing, but it was definitely a United States thing. It was not unique to us in Florida. I'm pretty sure it had to be the same for you guys out there. But if you were throwing local shows, how are you getting your flyers done? How are you affording to get your flyers done? Usually you started a print company and you sold gang runs. So, you know, pretty much everybody did the same damn thing. We didn't know that at the time. We thought we were, you know, smart or something. But anyway, so you start a print company, you resell gang runs, you get all your friends and club promoters to get the flyers, and you build a gang run and you sell it.
Right.
And everybody gets their flyers and you go. So that little crazy idea that we came up with, which was originally called Eastern Bloc, when we discovered there was an Eastern Bloc record store, which still runs to this day, and they're awesome, turned into Sonic Print, and Sonic Print grew and grew and grew. It became a multi-million-dollar company, which he has recently just been bought out of for monstrous amount of money, and he's off. He does professional racing.
Yeah.
And he does automobile racing and stuff now.
Yeah.
Right.
So in 2004, when he exited, there was this period of time from 2004 to 2006 where I saw that vinyl sales were really, really decreasing. It was becoming more and more expensive to put out our
That's
music
when a shop closed.
Yeah,
Shop closed in 2005.
Major changes were happening then. So I decided to change Force Recordings into an all digital label. And I joined Beatport in 2006. And that's where Pete Wachowski comes in. Pete Wachowski from the New York area was the guy who introduced the United States. He ran or helped manage a little record label that you guys have probably heard of called Plus 8. And was involved with a whole bunch of other really, really influential music moves for the United States in electronic music and dance music. You know, discovering Fatboy Slim and bringing Prodigy to the States for the first time.
Wow.
Not a gig, but as musicians for labels and releases and all that.
Yep.
Well, he and Matthew Adele, who started Beatport, they grandfathered me onto the platform and gave me a direct account. So I'm basically this. They classify me the same way as they classify Symphonic, but they've been very, very, very good to me over the years. And so that was the beginning of what you guys today could look at, what Straight Light Music Group is, and all the record labels that I run now. Like that's how that kind of started, that 2006 transition to digital. But now I press some of our music only on 10-inch vinyl dub plates, so it's all come full circle.
Right. Well, the novelty of vinyl will always be there. I don't think that'll ever go away. A Homie Catch is a shining example, right?
Yes.
It's just the shift from it being the major consumer format into being novelty. You have to adjust your business model accordingly. So if that means, you know, doing frequent or scarce runs of product in order to create value, then, you know, that's what you got to do.
I love it. That's what we do with Tough Love Dubs. I ran a dubstep label with Nick Sluggo. So shouts to Sluggo.
Big up Sluggo.
Yeah, man, the Sluggles.
Yeah.
So he and I started this label called Tough Love Dubs.
He's been through SAC. He's on Circle Management, right? He's been through SAC a few times.
Yeah. Gimbal and everybody.
Big up Gimbal.
You know it.
Yep.
So there was a period of time when Reed Speed and her hubby's label Play Me and us as Tough Love Dubs, alongside I think maybe Firepower and A couple others. I remember Rotten had a bunch of releases out, but like, you know, in the upswell of American dubstep, we were the major players. But you know, he left and got with Borgore and did the whole Bygore thing, and I took over Tough Love Dubs as a whole. I ended up closing it down in 2013. But anyway, today in 2020 we relaunched it, and we only released the music on 10-inch vinyl dub plate, and that's it.
Sick.
Yeah,
Sick.
and only like 10 copies.
That plays into the culture
artists
too.
are either.
I love it. I love it. That's so raw. You just get the manila slip with like the metal plate. There you go. The stamp. There you go.
Yeah.
How many releases would you say Force recordings or your drum and bass releases? Let's talk about that in particular. How many releases would you say you guys have at this point accumulated?
Oh, you know, not as many as you might think. I want to say we're at Force 101 right now.
Oh yeah, only 101 releases.
Well, I mean, you look at some labels and they broke their 100th release in like 10 years. But yeah, sure, it's a lot of releases, and I'm super stoked about it. Stepping Forward is at 51. The next release that we're going to put out on Stepping Forward is our 51st release. So that actually makes a lot of sense, because think about it. Force was 99, and we're turning 21 this year. Mm-hmm. And Stepping Forward, JB and I started that as a sub label in 2009, and that's at 50. So it's kind of an even schedule. Is there
a playlist of your discography for those in the chat that aren't DJs that maybe like want to listen on Spotify or something like that?
Yeah, but a portion of
I know
on Spotify. But realistically, if you want to get access to it all, just go to straylightmusicgroup.com.
Perfect.
If anybody has a link to that,
well,
throw it in the chat and go check it
right
out.
Now.
So yeah, Straylight SLMG. That's like everything. It's Force Recordings, Stepping Forward Records, Tough Love Dubs, Nightmare Recordings, Elohim, Shotgun Daisy, and soon to be her new label that she's debuting, that she's just been building and getting releases for, called Subsong.
But it's not drum and bass.
No, not drum and bass. 100% ambient.
Bring it up on the screen. Here we go. This is Straylight Music Group's website. Got you guys on blast right now. This is all their releases.
I did the wrong website. It's not Straylight Music.
Straylight Music Group.
Yep, I got it.
You typed the wrong thing.
Oh, I got it. Well, good thing I found the right one, right? This is the right one, isn't it?
I'm the worst.
So yeah, I think in terms of like songs, there's probably we're a little under 500 songs, and a little under 200 people that I've worked with over all the years, for artists and producers and just fucking cool ass people.
Sick. There's Force 101. You were just talking about it. Perfect. Look at that. Awesome.
Yeah, is that the Ahmad and Dreadmall release?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. So our next release is actually myself and No, we're doing remixes. So if you've ever heard of a guy named Antares, he's got some new releases coming with us. He's actually a friend of mine from Tampa, Florida.
You doing remix?
Yep.
Big up Binary Fission. I love you too, bro. Go ahead.
He's already completed a remix, and I'm doing another one of that release.
Bye, Binary. Thanks for
Binary Fission. What's up, son? Later, man. Have a great night.
Did we just get followed by L-Side? The L-Side from
L-Side.
B Recordings?
Yo, Leo, what's happening, man?
Yo,
What's
big
up,
up.
Leo?
That
Good
L-Side
to see
from
you,
V
bro.
Recordings L-Side? Brazil?
Oh, I got a gift sub.
Oh, snap. What up, dude? I'm a huge fan. I'm having a fanboy moment right now. Hi. Welcome to the 916 Junglist channel. My name is Billy Lane from Sacramento, California, and I'm a huge fan. Thanks for being here.
Big up.
Yo, big up.
Also, we saw you pop in. I think the tequila, though,
Oh my gosh.
That's a little bit
What
distracted.
a night. What a night. It's good to see you, man. I hope you're good.
Yo, seriously, though, your discography, the production, your channel, I mean, props. For those who have not done it yet, I'm going to tell you one last time. Head over to Escape Velocity's channel. Give them a follow right now. In fact, we're going to do the shout out command. Can we do that? Mods, can you help me out there? Where you at, Mods?
Big up, everybody. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you for having us on, man. It is kind of cool to do something that's not behind the decks. I mean, it's always going to be music related for us, but there's a lot more things, that we talk about besides music sometimes.
I feel like right now, people are looking to connect, and right now it would be foolish of people like you and I to not try to reach out to each other in this time when we have this time on our hands. Like normally I would be so focused on my little bubble that I wouldn't even be looking out as far as even seeing y'all. You know what I mean? So now, in my opinion, like there's going to be a lot of good relationships developed from this. And there's going to be a lot of good fan bases built from this.
100%.
And when we're back in real life, I think there's going to be something positive that comes out of all this, which includes y'all bringing the bus over to Sacramento and rocking for a 916 Junglist party.
The tour bus is a big deal. We are definitely going to come and see everybody.
Get to the tour bus.
We didn't even talk about the tour bus. Go on our Discord, check out the tour bus room. But
can you post a link to your Discord in the chat?
Yeah. Do you have a link to our Discord that you can put in the chat?
Yeah.
And right before we go, for everybody watching, we'll just give you, and I'll give you a very, very quick synopsis. We bought a Prevost tour bus for the purpose of, once renovated, traveling the North America area. We will station the bus itself, which we do our streams from, and has a generator big enough to actually do small events with this gigantic tent that it comes with. It's a 40-foot by 18-foot tent.
Yeah, we mentioned about your green screen 10 by 20. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel your pain. Because we had to check to make sure the tent was okay. And it's 20 by 40. This thing was like the craziest origami folding. We got unfolding it like maybe halfway. We're like, yeah, it's good to put it back before we forget. Put it back before we forget.
Keep the creases. Keep the creases.
Exactly. So what's happening is we're going to be on a 2-year tour, roughly 2 years. And I love it. The basic way it will operate is we'll go and take the base of operations, the tour bus, the Escape Velocity, the tour bus that Jungle built. We'll stick it in a location. We'll do an event or two from it, bring people to it, like what we have going on here with the Twitch community. And then one of the DJs, or maybe two of the DJs, or people that I've made music with, or people that I've released the music of on my labels, will connect up from that area, one of the outlying states around where we're at. And then we'll do a miniature tour in 4 or 5 states in a circle around that location.
Love it.
2-3 months later, we'll move to the next spot. We'll do it again. We do it again. We do it again. We make music. We play music. We do shows. The whole sort of thing.
The bus is HQ. I love it.
Point of the tour bus.
It's not just about going and visiting a lot of the people we made connections with too, but also there's so many dead zones in America for any music scene, not just drum and bass. We have viewers all the time. We're like, not only is there no drum and bass, like there's nothing going on.
For hundreds of miles.
So
there's nothing to do at all.
Top priority cities. Like if we're either going to have parties in the bus, if there isn't like a venue or something, we can have like a pop-up party, but we want to bring sort of this like live.
We can accommodate roughly 50 people on the outside with a sound system, nothing too crazy.
We have the locations, trust me. Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Everybody who comes to the Discord, you'll see that. And if you hang out in our channel, you'll know more about it.
I just started. Can I post the YouTube channel?
Please post everything.
The YouTube channel for the bus.
You can never leave.
Nothing's up there yet.
I'm having a great time. This is something I've been looking forward to for weeks. I've been wanting to meet y'all and hear your story forever. This is awesome. I'm super happy that this is happening.
I know you follow it. Didn't you subscribe? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I just made the YouTube page. I have to
There's literally no content here right now, but it is all coming. We have hundreds of hours of video to edit down and do the whole YouTube thing with. It is coming.
Yeah,
people who are on the Discord, you've seen little bits of it already.
I mean, we got the bus last year, but the process has been going on for probably like 3 years now.
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
Nice to meet everyone, and thank you everyone for the follows.
Yeah, big time. Billy, thank you so much for having us on, man.
My pleasure.
Awesome.
My pleasure.
Not DJing is a lot of fun.
I love it. I love the name.
Thank you so much. And would love to have you on one of my Saturday parties. They're hour time slots.
Yeah.
I know that's iffy for your guys' stats or whatever. I don't know how you guys look at that. But I would love to include y'all in this, and that'd be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna hit you up on that, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Perfect. All right, the raid is in countdown. Thank you so much again. Anybody who has not followed, please do so now. And when you raid into the next channel, we're gonna be hitting up Schwind. Make sure you throw up a 916 in the chat. Let them know we're coming in strong. And appreciate it. Once again, this is DJ's Not DJing. What up? Do the robot while we raid.
Easy, everybody. Big love.